Hey everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today we've got the pleasure of watching no-hit Ashley Benson playing in the Tier 10 Chinese heavy tank. It is the WZ-1115A, and in today's video you are going to be seeing the top gun of 2019. That's right, Ashley manages to get more kills than any other player, at least what was uploaded onto the QBWOT Replays website. Now, there were a few low-tier games that were actually on par with this, but I really feel like this one was truly special. I'm not going to spoil it. You're going to have to watch through the end to be able to see why I think this game in itself is definitely one of the top rounds of 2019. So Ashley Benson, that name rings a bell. Well, I know it didn't actually. It didn't ring a bell at all, but I went and had a bit of a Google around, right? And found out that Ashley Benson is apparently a film star, if you can call her that, who's dating Cara Delevingne. Am I saying that name wrong? I don't know. So I'm quite impressed, you know, Ashley, that you've actually found enough time to be able to invest into getting good at World of Tanks. And I can tell you, Ashley, you are very good at World of Tanks, if of course you're going to be the top gun of 2019. Anyway, focus on the gameplay, you absolute potato of a commentator, right? Now, one thing I will say about this replay is if you were adverse, if you were allergic to gold, if you can't have, you know, gold earrings, gold studs, whatever, because you're allergic to gold, then this is not going to be the replay for you. There is going to be a lot of filthy gold rounds fired, special rounds, premium rounds. What else are we going to come up with to call an ammunition type where if you spend more credits, you basically just get better ammunition? I don't know. But Wargaming are at least still currently planning to possibly do something about that, maybe in 2020, if they come through with the sandbox test server changes. The problem is that premium rounds, gold rounds, whatever you want to call them, are still going to cost, I guess, 3 or 4 times more and have more penetration. It's just that their alpha damage is no longer going to be the same as your standard rounds. And so if you can aim, you will be getting a DPM increase. Or actually, no, you won't be getting a DPM increase because all of the hit points of all of the vehicles are going to be increased as well. So I guess your DPM is going to stay the same if you use standard rounds, but everybody who's just going to be loading so much premium rounds in their tank and just not willing to aim as carefully at weak points or just to even possibly be able to flank, I guess, is going to get a DPM decrease relatively. Anyway, got to focus up on what's at hand, and that is that Ashley is completely dominating this flank here. Well, when I say a flank, it's pretty much wham bam in the middle of the map. Now, why is that? Because it's in a classic, very low aim time, Chinese heavy tank with 490 alpha damage and a very decent rate of fire. This thing packs 5.36 rounds a minute rate of fire. This thing has 2,625 damage per minute. Back in my day, tier 10 heavy tanks were packing 2,100 if they were lucky at tier 10. It was only something like the T110E5 that really started to flex out that damage per minute. Wargaming have just been adding in faster and faster and faster tanks with better and better and better turrets. With a tank like this, even having 7 degrees of gun depression, and now also starting to pack the DPM. So it's no wonder why 95% of games that were played by the top 30 players in ranked were inside medium and heavy tanks, huh? Yeah, there's so little room in the meta of things if you truly want to be incredibly competitive in the game, in just that, in a competitive environment, to play your light tanks, your tank destroyers, or even your self-propelled guns. So the WZ-1115A, it's able to go everywhere, do everything. But really the thing that allowed Ashley to be able to dominate that location was the fact that there's no artillery on the enemy team. If there had been 1 artillery, Ashley would have been hemorrhaging hit points pretty much every 30 seconds. If there were 2, we're talking about twice as many hit points every 30 seconds. But I really like this game because Ashley is never going to stay in one place at one time. She or he is going to be able to get around the map. They're going to be able to get around the map using the speed of this Chinese heavy tank to be able to absolutely dominate as many different flanks as possible. And when you are gunning to be the top gun of 2019, well, yeah, you're going to have to try and use that mobility and predict where the situation is going to go. Alright, so the heat round here wouldn't be able to go through that tiny little wall. Looks like Ashley realized that the heat round would be absorbed by the wall, instead waiting for a time to be able to engage the links. That was quite an interesting auto-aim there. You'll see that Ashley quite often uses auto-aim inside this replay. It's definitely not giving lead. This isn't some kind of an aimbot we're seeing right here. But what Ashley will do is just auto-aim at the tank, especially when they're driving in a straight line, and use that to their advantage. And it's definitely something to keep an eye out on, because it's something that I've always thought that would be absolutely horrific. But then again, You know, when you're packing 300 millimeters of penetration with the heat rounds on this vehicle, you don't really need to aim too accurately. World of Tanks is a bit of an old man FPS, right? I guess that's the reason why I can play this game so well. I'm not claiming that I'm an old person, an old man, not quite yet. I've still got a few more years, hopefully, before then. And I'm not judging anybody out there who would be playing this game at an older age, and far from it. What I mean is that World of Tanks is the kind of game where just because you don't have the pixel-perfect aim, you don't have the best reactions, you're not the stereotypical FPS player. You can still do incredibly well in it by using your noggin, and I think that's why this game has become so popular with a slightly older demographic compared to other first-player FPS titles, or alternatively, just popular among players who like a variety of genre, you know? They want to have a bit of RTS, they want to have a little bit of an overview. It does really reward somebody who pays careful attention to the map, can memorize the strengths and the weaknesses of all the different tanks, and put them into great effect to try and use your strengths against the enemy's weak points. Alright, so Ashley, having dominated the center of the map, now went and dominated the east of the map, up to 6,000 damage and 6 kills. And what you want to see is a big old health bar right now, and that's because 1,827 hit points left. Practically all of the initial hit points are still remaining in Ashley's tank, and that means that they're going to be able to go on and maybe double that total. Although I'm not going to spoil anything, we'll have to see. How many kills do you think is the top gun of 2019, ladies and gents? Alright, so Ashley, I have to admit there, we're showing a little bit of lax aim against the Skoda T50. It's quite surprising for somebody who clearly is a very strong player. And I think, if I might be so bold, I really feel like where Ashley's strongest is where they are predicting where the situation is going to go. And definitely not what they're showcasing with regards to their crystal cut marksmanship. Although I feel like I'm nitpicking a little bit here. Who am I to talk about somebody who is the top gun of 2019, right? So this is where you want to be against the FV215B183. You definitely don't want to be in front of that tank. You don't want to be sitting in front of that 183mm, otherwise that is most likely going to be a one-way trip back to the garage. Luckily, Ashley shuts them down, now turns their attention towards the Object 277, which is a competitor for this vehicle, and unfortunately, Ashley bounces while the 277 penetrates, but luckily this tank will have a better rate of fire, which will allow them to be able to, oh dear, did you see that one coming? No, you probably didn't. Actually bounce off the front of the 277. Why heavy tanks are just so darn strong, right? Because sometimes they're going to be able to magic bounce those 330, 340mm penetration heat rounds, right? Okay, so Ashley has just secured her 9th kill of the game. 7,000 damage, but there are still 5 tanks left on the enemy team to have to deal with. This is turning into quite the round of World of Tanks. Ashley now spots the SU-130 out in the open, who was planning to shoot the Yang Tiger, or possibly even the Object 430, who's up in the top corner. Now Ashley's going to be firing her final premium round into the SU. I would have actually liked to see Ashley save that, possibly, maybe, for the T30. Definitely not necessary to fire a heat round there. Probably could have used one of those 7 high explosive rounds left, because there are 4 tanks left on the enemy team, and Ashley only has 6 armor-piercing rounds left, and then they're going to have to make use of those high explosive rounds that they have. Now, I do like to take a big old chunk of high explosive rounds in my heavies too, especially when you end up just sitting opposite hull-down tanks, right? A lot of hull-down heavies in the meta right now, and you will need those high explosive rounds just to do paltry little bits of damage, although even paltry amounts of damage will add up to significant damage later on. Oh, good reactions there! Right through the front plate of the T30. Ashley not even slowing down for a second to be able to finish off that tier 9 tank destroyer. Right, well, with probably one of the more dangerous vehicles on the enemy team with regards to alpha damage shutdown, Ashley's going to ignore the bat chat on her left to be able to instead focus on saving the cap circle. And luckily the LT-432 gets spotted out in the open, and with 8 seconds left, Ashley sets the LT-432 on fire, securing 41 fire damage there and a good old chunk of base defense points. But with the second shot now, Ashley has 3 armor-piercing rounds and 7 high explosive rounds remaining, with 2 tanks left on the enemy team, and Ashley is now up to 12 kills. And Ashley realizes, with 35 seconds left on the game, what do I do? Do I go for the bat chat, or do I go and try and interrupt the cap circle? And Ashley is clearly going to try to play to win this game, going straight towards the tier 8 tank destroyer that's voraciously trying to cap out. Now this is where these heavy tanks, these Chinese heavy tanks, even your faster Soviet heavy tanks, are just so darn powerful. Able to get around practically like a medium tank, or at least what medium tanks used to be like. But we don't have to worry about that because now there's 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. What? What was that? Oh my lord, that was possibly one of the clutch shells of the century. Well, you know what, Ashley? Everything that I said earlier about your poor aim, and I have to admit, you auto-aimed that one at the end there, but you know what? I'm going to let that slide. Goodness gracious, you made it up with that reaction shot on the Scorpion G. Should we take a look at that one? Should we just rewind the replay and relive that moment, boys and girls? Oh my lord. Let's watch that one in half time once we get close. Auto action replay, QuickyBaby in the house here. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Look at this. We'll watch it in half speed. We'll watch it in half speed here. Actually, this is quarter speed. Look at this shot. Boom! That was beautiful, and 100 base defense points. Pixel perfect, aimed there. QuickyBaby doesn't know what he's talking about. Ashley, congratulations to you. You are the Top Gun of 2019. And I was so excited by possibly one of the most clutch saves I've ever seen in World of Tanks by killing that Scorpion inside the cap circle. I didn't even talk about Ashley taking out the Bachatillon on the enemy team and securing their 14th kill. And that secures Ashley the rarest medal in World of Tanks. It's the Rezhenai Heroes Medal. It's the one that nobody gets for taking out at least 14 of the 15 enemy tanks. Ashley, congratulations to you. I can literally count on one hand the number of Rezhenai Heroes medals that I have seen at tier 10. It's truly an impressive feat, and you must be an absolute riot of having played this game. I can only imagine how fast your heart must have been pumping at the end there with both the clutch engagement against the T-30 and the clutch save against the Scorpion G. So in addition to the Rezhenai Heroes medal, Ashley managed to pick up the Naden's medal for destroying 3 enemy light tanks, a Defender's medal, and boy, this was a serious Defender's medal. Even it says 100 here, it was more like 150 with those 2 interrupts, and a high caliber for 9,832 damage dealt. There are some 14 kill medals at tier 10 where the player has frankly just got very lucky and picked up kills that they didn't really deserve. Ashley made a lot of these kills and definitely did everything that their team could possibly want to be able to carry this round. For that, Ashley receives 1,755 base experience points and still makes a profit with a premium account, although that is definitely stretching it by talking about the 50,000 credits that you get once a day for playing your first game, right? And 124,000 credits spent on ammunition. Yeah, I said this wasn't going to be one for anyone allergic to gold. And while I personally prefer watching replays where the player hasn't just taken a full coating of premium rounds at the start of the replay and have used their ammunition tactically, after checking out this awesome game and especially that heroic save at the end, yeah, I think I can forget about it. So Ashley Benson, congratulations to you on one of the most epic games of 2019, and further congratulations on being the Top Gun of the European server for this year. Thank you so much for uploading your replay on the What Replays website and sharing it for the community to enjoy. I know I thoroughly did. And hopefully all of you out there watching this YouTube video did as well. If you did, give the video a thumbs up, and if you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments what was the most kills you have ever picked up inside World of Tanks, and what tank was it in? For me personally, it was the E75, it was 12, and it was on a close quarters Runeberg map. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.